Hello everybody, Random Porpoise here, and today we're going to be talking about my top 15 favorite roller coasters. Actually, if you don't know, I love roller coasters. I've ridden 61 of them, which I think is pretty impressive. And just a warning for those of you who are coaster fans, there are a bunch of surprises on this list, so don't get triggered at me if a coaster you hate is on this list or a coaster you love isn't on this list. But let's get on with it. Coming in at number 15 is the Phobia Fear Coaster at Lake Compounce. It's this park's Skyrocket 2 model, and I was really surprised by it. I thought it was really intense, and that inversion at the top had amazing hang time. And then the not inverting loop had some pretty good forces too. And best of all, it was glossy smooth. So that was amazing. Next up, we have Raptor at Cedar Point, the park's B&M invert. It was a very fun coaster. It had some great inversions, and it was a nice long ride too. It was also very forceful and surprised when I rode it. And so it's earning its good spot at the number 14 spot. Next, we have Topville Dragster at the same park. This is a pretty underrated coaster. I don't really see it in too many top 10s or top 25s or top 15s on YouTube, but when I rode it, I was pleasantly surprised. The launch is really intense, and you get some great airtime at the top of that top hat, and that drop is amazing. And also, it only has lap bars, so you feel really free. Next up is Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure, my home park. This has some great floater airtime, and it provides an amazing ride for anyone, even if you don't really like coasters that much. It's not that scary in my opinion, even though the first time I did go on it, I was pretty nervous because it was one of my first big coasters, and it was also actually the first hyper coaster that I went on, so that holds a little special place in my heart. And not to take its spotlight, but literally stealing the spotlight, is Steel Force at Dorney Park, another hyper coaster. This coaster is amazing. The restraints are so loose. If it had normal restraints like Nitro's restraints, I'd take Nitro over this. But those restraints provide so much airtime, and that back half of the ride, it has some of the most insane ejector airtime I've ever felt. And it is a truly amazing coaster. You should definitely check it out if you ever go to Dorney Park. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. At number 10 spot is Fahrenheit at Hershey Park. This is a pretty intense coaster, and it has some great inversions. That drop is amazing, and it had a great little pop of ejector airtime at the end. I would definitely recommend this coaster at Hershey Park, but spoiler, it's not the last coaster from Hershey Park on this list. And as I said, it's not the last, because next up is Lightning Racer in the same park, two dueling GCI Woodies. There's no line when I went to Hershey Park on most of the coasters, and so I got to ride this coaster on both sides, and it provided for some amazing airtime and some nice thrills as you get to duel your friends on it. And it's always one of the trains, I forget which one it is, but one of them always wins. It's like a second faster than the other one. But that's not that big of a deal because then the other one, you get a bonus of a longer ride, I guess, but you don't really feel that. And it does provide some amazing airtime. You should definitely ride this if you can ride it. And next, we have Boulder Dash at Lake Compounce. Now this I was also surprised by. I heard it was a fairly rough coaster and that it was pretty good. I didn't exactly think it would get this high up in my rankings. But again, this is similar to Steel Force where the restraints are very loose. So on the back half of that ride, you get some insane airtime. And I didn't even think it was that rough. There was one part on the front half going out. It was kind of like a straight section, and it was really rough. But it wasn't exactly unbearable. In that part, I just recommend holding on so you don't really shake around that much. But on the back half, it was pretty smooth, and it had some amazing airtime. Next, we have probably the biggest surprise on this list for most of you. Talon at Dorney Park. Now, this surprised me so much. It is very intense, it is glossy smooth, and the inversions are amazing. It is really an underrated roller coaster. You guys should definitely ride it if you go to Hershey Park. Next up, at number 6, we have another really intense coaster, Maverick at Cedar Point. This coaster is amazing. I think it might be a tad overrated as it only has like a couple pops of airtime, but its extreme intensity makes it up for it. I really enjoyed the high-speed bank turns, and the airtime that it did provide was pretty strong. And the launches aren't that intense, but it's an amazing coaster, I think. Next, we have Gatekeeper at Cedar Point, a very underrated coaster. I've never really heard anybody talk like, oh my god, Gatekeeper's amazing. And when I rode it, I was surprised. It has an amazing drop, hands down one of the best drops on any roller coaster ever. It's very smooth. You don't get any head banging, which my mom really liked about that. And the restraints aren't even that bad, except when you're sitting on the final brake one, they do get a little annoying on your hips. And this coaster does have some really neat near-miss elements, and you actually get airtime on that airtime hill at the beginning. Next up, we have Storm Runner at Hershey Park. I know you're going to get mad at me. Well, not mad, but you're probably going to argue with me if you've ridden this coaster. But I think it has the strongest airtime on any roller coaster I've ever been on. It also has a very intense launch. I think that launch, I'm not sure if it's as intense as Top Thrill Dragsters, but it got some great forces on it. And I got to get a front row night ride on it, which is amazing. You should definitely ride this coaster at Hershey Park. It is one of my favorite coasters. It's at number 4, so it must be. It's a truly amazing roller coaster. Next up, we have El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure. Do not get me started on this airtime. It might not be as strong as Storm Runners, but it is much more airtime. And it is amazing airtime. There's not any floater. It's all ejector. And that drop just feels endless. Even though the restraints, I do agree, they're not the best. They are a little annoying at the end when you're just sitting on the brake run. The seatbelt does kind of jam into your legs a little, your seatbelt clip. But next up, we have Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England. This is an amazing coaster. I've got the chance to ride it 11 times. 10 of them were on the same day because there was no line. So the first time I rode it, this was the first big coaster I went on. I was just going up to visit my family in Massachusetts, and on the way back, we decided to go to Six Flags New England. And I rode it. I had a great time on it, but it freaked me out because I was really scared of roller coasters back then. And so it freaked me out so much that I guess I didn't really enjoy it to my full potential. But then this summer, I went back to Six Flags New England. I rode it. It blew me away. It is a truly amazing coaster. It has some of the strongest airtime. Again, not as strong as Storm Runners, but still some of the strongest. It has some great hang time on the 0G stall. And the drop is really cool. It's not the biggest drop, but it's fun. And it is super intense. If you sit in the back row, you will gray out. It is amazing. That double down is probably my favorite part, the one on screen you can see right now. And next, to the best coaster, in my opinion. Any of you who've been on it probably agree with me. It is the one, the only, the legendary Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. I can't even describe how amazing this is. I'm actually wearing a Steel Vengeance shirt as I'm recording this. And that just shows how much I love this roller coaster. Which, I do get shirts for a lot of coasters that I like. But, yeah, this is an amazing coaster. It has probably the best drop on any coaster ever. Has some of the strongest airtime in that second half. It actually holds the record for the most airtime on any roller coaster ever. I think it's 27 point something seconds. And it truly feels like it's a lot of airtime. It's also a very long roller coaster. And I mean very long. It's probably one of the longest roller coasters I've been on duration-wise. And it's amazing. You guys, if you ever go to Cedar Point, this is you have to check it out. And if you don't, then you're missing out on a lot. And it's really amazing in a front row seat. A front car seat. It's just mind-blowing. I can't even describe. So thanks for watching, everybody. This is my opinion on my top 15 favorite roller coasters. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.